Welcome to another episode of Let's Eat Orlando with Amy, Drew, and Biggie. Welcome. Hopefully you guys are doing well. And I know we're still in holiday season. Obviously, Amy, Drew, I know that we, with the holidays coming right up, everyone, obviously, we already talked about Thanksgiving because we love celebrating Thanksgiving. But obviously, we have another holidays coming up in the next few.
Oh my God, so many holidays.
So much food to eat and so much, which is probably my favorite, which is probably the reason why a lot of people hibernate and then obviously have the New Year's resolutions of working out and all that stuff. But if you're doing it right, you should be exercising and doing all that good stuff. And then that way you can still enjoy and not feel guilty about it.
I just came from the gym and I didn't shower.
There you go. I love it. And you look great. I figure we'll talk a little since we're talking kind of end of the year type stuff. And I know holidays coming up. I was just kind of curious on what do you usually like? What's your usual what do you usually do for like the holidays? What was a normal holiday thing that you guys would do?
I don't know. We didn't have a lot of, I wanted to start different traditions when I was a mom, but we didn't really have that many because my dad was in the restaurant, but my dad's tradition on the holidays was working.
Yeah.
Because the restaurant was open. And so he was serving other people. So there was not a lot of that going on at my place.
Did he make, out of curiosity, did he make food? Like, did you guys have like a little feast maybe before the holidays or was it, or did he at least bring leftovers?
My family would get together, but not usually, Christmas, Hanukkah, none of that stuff.
Yeah. So for me and my family, our big one for us is, Noche Buena is like our big one. So for Christmas Eve, that's our big one. That's the one my mom will do. Yeah, it's kind of for us, that's our big one. We do, my mom, and through the years, obviously it's changed on how big it is, but usually there's always some form of roasted pork. There's usually, that my mom will either make or, depending on if we go somewhere, who's someone making it in a pit or in a box. And then, with the rice and black beans and the yuca, and all that deliciousness. Like to me, that's what I think of when I think of Christmas Eve, but I also know that it's funny because my family kind of looks at it, that's Christmas Eve. But then on Christmas, I think my family just kind of we're like, oh, maybe we'll have some Chinese food or maybe we'll do Italian.
Yeah. Chinese food is the thing for me on Christmas and movies. And it seems like, nobody used to do that.
Yeah.
It was a very small number of people. And now it seems like everybody's copping on the movie and Chinese food thing, which has made it harder to get, I have to wait longer for my takeout. So, people stay home and eat a goose or whatever you guys eat.
Eat goose. Eat goose. Have a turkey. Go get a ham or something.
A ham, a turkey, whatever. Leftovers from Noche Buena.
Yeah. Usually my mom, what she'll do is you'll do Christmas, you'll do Noche Buena, and then usually that a day or two later, the leftover pork, we'll buy Cuban bread, make some extra onions, and then make pan con lechon. So we'll do pork, we'll do that. We'll do with the leftover pork. We'll do that. We'll make sandwiches out of it, which is surprisingly to me, that's something my mom would do because my mom is not really a sandwich person. So of course, obviously I was always excited about that.
One thing that I totally grew up with, not in my family, but from the time I was very, very little, I lived on a very diverse block in Brooklyn. And my first best friend, we knew each other when we were 3-4 years old, was Jackie. And Jackie's family was Puerto Rican. And I was always at Jackie's family's apartment, always eating the food. There was always cousins, aunts, uncles. And that was my second home away from home. And at Christmas, her mother would cook on the stove. She was a Coquito cooker. Some people don't do that. Always Coquito. And this was the 70s, and I guess people weren't as paranoid. Now, if I'm going to give anybody's kid even a sip of alcohol, it's let me text your mom and see if this is okay.
Let me see if it's okay.
Right. Jackie's mom would just pour us little glasses.
Little shot glass?
Yeah, they were little cordial glasses or maybe jelly. They might have been little tiny jelly jars. It was small, but it had some good rum in it and it would feel all warm. And we were so little, we used to go under the dining room table and all her relatives would be around and there'd be feet and legs and everything. And we were these two little tiny peanuts sipping Coquito under the table. So I've had Coquito in my life since I was 4 years old. I would say 4 or 5 years old, so that's been a Christmas thing for me through my friend's family. And then continuing through, I've always had, Puerto Ricans in my life. So there's always been coquito.
Out of curiosity, like when you who did you learn, like did you like as you grew older, did you find out like from Jackie's mom how you found how to make coquito, or how did you learn to make coquito, and then also how early on do you make it? And the reason I say that is because there's some years at Thanksgiving I already have coquito made because my family wants to start drinking it
Right.
from like Thanksgiving. But I'm kind of curious, like, do you have like a time frame or a set that
It
you
would be
usually
after,
will
for
start?
me, it's after Thanksgiving. Like at
Yep.
Thanksgiving, we have to clear Thanksgiving. It's kind of like putting up the Christmas tree. And my tree
Yep.
is up, but it happens after Thanksgiving. It could be very close to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But we have to clear the Thanksgiving hurdle. And then I put up my tree and I put up my lights and I make my cookies.
And then your coquito recipe, at least it may have gone through some iterations.
It has.
But
it changed this year, as a matter of fact.
So, and then we'll talk about that because like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious. Like, so I'm just kind of,
I'm dying.
first tell me
I take a drink of this now.
Yes, have a sip. Have a sip. I'm just upset
Right.
that I haven't made
Salud.
mine yet. So salud. Enjoy. So when what's your original one? Did you remember where your original
so
recipe
good.
came from?
My original one was very basic. It was a no cook recipe. It's very similar to the cooking recipe. Condensed milk, Coco Lopez, which is mandatory. Like it has to be Coco Lopez. It has to be. And the other can.
Condensed milk.
Condensed milk and
Evaporated milk.
And evaporated milk. Sorry. I always get them crossed up because like one goes in pumpkin pie, one goes in pecan pie, but they both go into coquito and rum and spices. And that was my coquito. But this year, because I tried someone's coquito last year that was like so good, I asked him if he could share his recipe with me. So basically, the recipe is really not that much different. I do a little bit to the rum, but it's just that I cook it. So there's fresh nutmeg and cinnamon, but I cooked it this year. And let me tell you, it really makes a difference. Like it was good before, but it's better. You cook it. You don't put the rum in. Obviously, you cook everything and then you cool it. And then you put the rum in. But when it cools, after it cooks, then you cool it. And when it cools, like something magical happens. It gets thicker. There's almost like a caramelization that goes on, maybe.
You make me want to try it that way because
better. So I mean, it's more work, undeniably.
It is more work because I told my family, and my family was like, "Yeah, that's a lot more work than you want to put into it." And I was like, "Oh, maybe I will do it.
It's not.
Maybe I'll just do one bottle for me like that."
The hardest part is opening all the cans and then probably cleaning the pot.
Yes. So just a few things in case you're hearing all this and you're like, "What the heck? I've never had coquito. What is coquito?"
This is coquito. This magical
elixir.
You look, you can see all the spices in it.
Yeah. It's all in there. So coquito obviously is like a little bit of coconut is what they call it, is kind of what it is. Like, when it comes to it, it's a Puerto Rican, I would say it's a Spanish style version of eggnog, a better version of eggnog.
Yes.
There are multiple versions of this and multiple Puerto Rican cookbooks on how to make it. Some have egg or egg yolk in it. And then there's a lot of people that
magical. It makes things like more creamy, and I always put an egg yolk when I make Alfredo sauce. At the end, you have to put a raw egg yolk in there. It gets all emulsified, but I did not do the egg thing. So there's no.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the egg aspect in the coquito, but I do, and it would make sense if you did do it. If you're gonna make it, you would do it in the stove rather than obviously like the way I learned how to do it was I learned it. I was at my wife's, and my wife's American. So I was at my wife's house, like visiting family and one holiday. And one of her cousins was married or dated a Puerto Rican girl, and she made coquito. And I was like, what is this? I've never had coquito before. And I was like, this is amazing. And her recipe was like super, super easy. I mean, it literally is that. It's the 3 cans, and her cans, she didn't even give me. She was just basically told me coconut milk. She didn't even give me, but she was just like, it was like coconut milk, evaporated milk, sweetened condensed milk, drop, put your spices, blend, then start putting then put your alcohol in, and then go from there. And so I kind of played around with it.
Is great because you can just pour the alcohol in and drink it right there. With the other one, you got to cook it first and then let it cool and then the alcohol, because obviously you don't want to cook the alcohol
Yeah, you don't want to cook the alcohol. And then and then I'm kind of curious because we'll talk about Orlando, like places that you can get coquito if you're like, oh, I want to try it or I want to get some, or hey, I really love coquito, I want coquito everything. We have some places that you can kind of get that taste of it, whether it's alcoholic, non-alcoholic, but at least kind of give you that version of it. But obviously you want my only question I have for you is, especially when you learn the new recipe, are because you sometimes tend to I know I tried your coquito last year and it's definitely stronger than what my coquito would be.
Well,
So
that's
like when you my question is
you're
this:
gonna
your
drink,
recipe, my recipe, that the recipe that you got this year compared to what you've done in the past, is it the same amount of rum, or you like, I don't care, my rum is my rum that I put in there,
No, there
but like the amount of rum that you pour into it?
no, anybody who's going to give you a coquito recipe, I think, who's reasonable, is just going to give you the basic. But this is the basic, right? So about, I would say, like 7 ounces for a bottle, which is, and here's an example. Here's an empty bottle of mezcal that I am going to fill with coquito and give to somebody
Yep.
at some point. I save my bottles all year, which
Yep.
is what people do. And around this time, like down in Miami, I don't know, I guess I have to admit, and I think that the Cubans in Miami have appropriated coquito, because everybody
Oh,
in
we definitely take it. Everyone drinks coquito. Everyone I know drinks coquito in some form or fashion. We all love it.
right. So it's a
It's like it's
cultural
automatically.
appropriation, a Caribbean
Mm-hmm.
appropriation. But yes,
Yep.
it's Puerto
Yep. Yep.
Rican, but the Cubans in Miami love it. And around like Halloween, everybody starts asking you for your liquor bottle. Save your liquor bottle. And it got
Yep.
earlier for the years that I lived in Miami. Like it would be like back to school and they'd be like, yo, you got bottles? Like everybody would be. So I just save them all year. And I have so many. So
Yep.
I will have enough. And I'll probably have leftover. And I don't know. It becomes cumbersome after a while, saving the bottles.
We started doing we started doing it where we were actually at one point, that was like kind of like our holiday thing. And we would do, before COVID, we were doing it where we would do something called cookies and coquito.
Right. I remember.
And so
that was like when I met
we would
you.
bring, yep, we would bring our friends, we would tell our friends to come over, bring some cookies. We would make coquito and then I would actually sell it to my friends. But the reason I sold it was because all the money, basically what I was doing was all the money that I was selling the coquito for was going towards Ronald McDonald House, because we would then buy stuff for the house.
Oh, that's
so we would do it that way. And because of the fact that I'm like, well, I'm not Puerto Rican, so I'm like, I can Americanize the hell out of this. I literally did I did 3 versions of coquito in my house.
You did like
so
an
my house had like,
right?
I had 3 versions. I had regular, like the OG, and then I had chocolate coquito that I would do with like chocolate, basically. Yeah, I was like dark chocolate coquito, and then I also had cookies and cream coquito is what I had.
I remember that.
And those were my 3, and then I would make it, and then I would make my daughter and her friends would want some, so I would make an non-alcoholic version of that, which obviously is just all the different things without the booze. And then they would have that, and then I would sell that. And that's how I would do it. Now I've kind of obviously don't do it as often. But what we would do is we would do mason jars. Right. So I would get like the large mason jars and then just start pouring in mason jars, and then we would have our garage refrigerator was just filled with like, you name the flavor, and I would just like literally, people would come by, drop off, and I still have people do that, come by and be like, hey, you got the coquito? I'm going to come over to your house to pick it up.
Like a drug deal. Like
it does.
Because in Miami, it was always like that, because people just sold it out of their house.
Yep. Everyone does it. Everyone does it that way. But I want to talk about, since we're talking coquito, let's talk about coquito in the city beautiful, in Orlando. A lot of places do offer or make it. Obviously, they've realized, I think there's like a huge trend where people have seen this, so they're incorporating it in one way or another. Mm-hmm. Some in like the actual alcohol form, some in the non-alcoholic form, like in, kind of like the flavor profiles of it. And so I kind of wanted to chat with you a little bit about, some of the places that you know of that may possibly sell the alcoholic version, or that you can actually maybe buy from them.
I'm not completely up on it. A few years ago, I did a coquito story. And
it's like in 22, right?
I featured Matt's Latin BBQ, which is over near the airport. I do know that they are still selling it. So they sell it. I cannot tell you how much they sell it for, but they do sell it. Crocante is selling their version of it in a bottle with a label on it, so you can buy it from them. Again, not sure of the price. Didn't you have another one that you mentioned
I
to me?
did. I know my friend Bien Fuegos. He does a lot of awesome,
The
good.
food
He
truck.
does some really.
Is it a truck
He
or
is
a
like he's
tent?
like a pop. He's a pop up,
A tent.
and I know I saw recently that he has on his Instagram. You can like DM him and you can buy some from him.
This is good.
He'll sell a bottle because like a lot of people, that's kind of like the way it works. There's a lot of DM action going on there when it comes to the
It's
to the
true.
world
This is what I mean.
Coquito.
It's still kind of like a drug deal. It's like a little
Yep, yep,
clandestine.
yep. Yo, you got that stuff?
Right. I did see something funny if we want to talk about like tea online
Yeah.
where somebody called out or mentioned that Otto's High Dive is selling a bottle of Coquito for $50 a bottle,
Mm-hmm.
which is pricey
Yeah.
for Coquito. And Justin from Otto's, who I believe is Puerto Rican, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that he's Puerto Rican. At any rate, this guy is a Michelin recognized bartender, like legit. So apparently they're using a very high level rum, which we can talk about. And of course, there's
Yeah.
a lot of work that goes into it. And I'm sure they're doing all kinds of funky, fancy things. And of course, they're making it for you. So, of course, you don't have to spend. If you don't like it, you don't have to buy it. But I know that a lot of people were acting up about it. But I do know that they are using this, which is Barrilito 3-star rum, which is not cheap rum. Honestly, my opinion, I wouldn't put this in Coquito. It's too good. It's too good for Coquito.
You're like,
maybe
yeah,
like
don't mix it with anything else. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the goodness.
Really, that's how good this rum is.
Yeah.
And so if they are putting a lot of this in the bottle, I know that he mentioned that their Coquito is very strong. This is not cheap rum. You know, and then there's labor and everything else that goes into you not having to do anything except take it home and drink it. But this is really good rum. He also did mention, and this is the go-to this year, Palo Viejo, which is much less expensive, also Puerto Rican rum, but very good. This is what is going in. If you receive a bottle of my Coquito this year, this is what you're getting. That stuff I'm not putting in the Coquito. Sorry. No. Sorry. I give mine away. Mine doesn't cost $50, so you're getting this.
You get what I'm giving you, and it's going to be still delicious.
It is. Yes. This is a very good rum. There is nothing wrong with this rum. It is just not nearly as pricey as the other one, you know. So this is perfectly fine. And you said you use Don Q.
I do. That's usually what I end up. I usually end up getting a bottle or two of Don Q and using that, and then that's usually what I end up using. And for me, and that's one of the reasons why I was asking you about the alcohol content, because I'm the type of person that I put enough alcohol, but I want it so that when you take your first sip, I want it to be one of those where it's like a slow thing where like you drink a little bit and you're like, oh, this is delicious. And then when you get the next pour, because it's like the mixture of the sweetness, then the next one, when you start having the next sip of it, or you start having the next, then you're like, oh, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling good. Like, I don't want it to like jump on you. I want it to be like oh, this is nice. And then you're like, oh, like that's kind of what I like. I don't want it to like burn me and go, damn, what the hell? This is like alcohol. Like, I want it to be like, not be that way.
See, I think this is, it's 3 super, super creamy, sweet ingredients in here. Plus
yes.
So you have to put a lot of rum in something for it to really hit you like that. As far as I go, I want people to drink it and taste the rum. It doesn't have to kill, but I want you to know there is booze in there.
There's rum in there.
Well, the thing is that this is like 1,000,000 calories a glass. You know, like if you're going to catch a buzz off this, you need to catch a buzz off a small amount, because this is, you know, or move on to something else. That's when you just bust out the Barrilito and you sip this. Yeah. And you just, you know, and this is for dessert or for pre-gaming. And then you just move on. It's like mimosas. If you ever see people at the bottomless mimosas place, they start with mimosas and then it's just less and less and less juice until they're just drinking champagne.
You know? I mean, for me, usually the coquito for me in our house usually is like, this is the after dinner, you know, you're kind of like, it's like the dessert / type of thing to be able to do. But yeah, no, I enjoy it. It's a great
flan would be really good. Anybody doing that? Message.
So yeah, as a matter of fact, I know that. I mean, I know there's some places that I started like researching on was like I know the gnarly Cuban ladies over there. They do like a coquito flan empanada, which I thought was kind of interesting concept to do.
Deep fried coconut custard in a yeah, that doesn't sound terrible. I would try
Nope.
that.
And then like Bang Bang Bakehouse, they're known for their rum cakes, but they also have a coquito rum cake
Okay.
that you can get from them. That's actually great. And they're like in the little containers. So you can just, kind of like indulge on that. And they are rummy, so it's perfect. So it just gives you you get that taste of it, which I love.
I want to go on record saying I want to go to Otto's and taste that. Like I'm wondering, do they sell that? That would be cool.
Well, that's what I'm curious about.
Do they sell that by glass or by like? Can I?
Yeah, can I get a glass? I don't want to spend 50. I don't want to spend 50, but I'll give you 10 for it. Like, I mean, if you think of it that way, you're like, I'll pay $10 for the Coquito Club, and then I'm like, well, crap, I just drank 2 of these.
You're gonna have.
I could have just gotten the bottle.
Listen, what if I? No, it's on here. I want to see you do that. Go in there and be like, well, listen,
I'd be like, wait a second.
Bottle, but
I don't want a bottle. I just want like, just give me like give me a little something. Let me have a sampler on there to drink it. I know like
but I'm making so much here. I don't need to buy theirs.
Correct.
I can make myself a single serving with the barley.
Yes. Yes. That you definitely can. The Wellborn, I know they make a coquito, like the alcoholic version of it. I know they do that. I know that Create Coffee.
They do a coquito like
they do a coquito coffee.
Yeah.
Which is great. I know Kelly's homemade ice cream. They have I think one of their flavor of the month this month is coquito is one of them. There's no alcohol in it, I don't believe.
No. You can take that home and
but yes, that's exactly what you do. You take it home and add a little bit of rum to it. Add a little rum to it. Oh, you can make a boozy milkshake, coquito milkshake. It's the same idea.
Look at that.
Get some of that ice cream, drop it in there, pour up a little of the little rum and blend the heck out of that thing and enjoy.
Always thinking.
I like it. I like that. That's a good one. I almost want to try that. I want to try that. I'm all about trying new versions of what I can do with it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to be like, how does it taste if you make it into?
I have to say.
Is it?
Yeah,
you're gonna.
This is this one.
What makes me laugh is I'm gonna end up. Usually I'm hungry. Now you're making me thirsty for it. So now I'm gonna have to go to the store and actually go buy my ingredients to make it.
It's not really like having a drink. It's like eating melted ice cream with booze in it.
Correct. Which is delicious.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not bad. It's good stuff.
I've always wanted to do. It is like Christmas. I've always wanted to. That's why I've always wanted to buy the whatchamacallit, Christmas Vacation, the moose mugs, and put coquito in it and use that. Fun. That's what I've always wanted to do. I just never pulled the trigger on getting the mugs so I can drink coquito from them, but it'll happen soon enough. Out of curiosity, since you talked about making it over the stove, and if people are like listening to this, give people a little bit of a rundown of it. Like, is it like when you put it on, is it like medium heat, low heat? What are you trying to do?
Too high because you'll burn it. You got to kind of bring the temperature up slow. You either want to get it just to where it's just barely simmering or really just kind of right under that temperature. Like too hot. You wouldn't want to like stick your finger in it or get splattered by it. It's very, very hot. Just bring it up to that temperature and you stir it. You're whisking it the whole time. You're getting the spices all blended in there and you're whisking it the whole time. Bring it up to that higher heat for about 1 or 2 minutes and you're good. And then just move it off the heat, let it cool.
And then just let it cool down.
And then eventually into the fridge. But you don't put it straight into the fridge. Just let it cool.
Yeah, let it get to room temperature and then put it back in the fridge.
Mm-hmm.
And then did you actually go the route of like go sophisticated and actually like
did you just like nutmeg into it?
You grated some nutmeg?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
So this first batch is high class because that's like the good stuff.
I soaked fruit in the rum, dried fruit in the rum to get more color, a little tiny bit of flavor. Yeah. And then you put some of that in the bottle,
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's the way to do it. That's awesome.
Stick in the bottle. It's good stuff.
Oh yeah, no, it's delicious. If you have not had it, and and if you don't, if you're not if you don't want to try it alcoholic wise, you can. It's
Well,
still delicious.
that's the beauty of it, is that you
Yep,
cook it before you even put the alcohol in. So when it's if you don't want to put alcohol in it, you just cool it down, put it in the fridge, and it's ready to go. Then you're
and
just
enjoy.
drinking.
I love that. I love that, and I think that's a good one. I definitely worthwhile to have. Obviously, you're not drinking it in massive quantities. It's kind of like a sipping, kind of after dinner type thing, or a sweet little treat, kind of like how you would drink eggnog. So you're not drinking like full glasses. Maybe a mug, maybe a mug's worth.
Some people probably are, but I wouldn't recommend
Yeah.
it.
No, yeah, it's a little too much, especially if you're lactose intolerant. That's
Well,
a lot of
you
dairy
could
there.
do, I don't know exactly how you would do it, but I've seen recipes for plant-based coquito.
I have seen that as well. I've seen that. I've seen some
Coconut
ice cream
milk,
folks.
coconut cream. I
Yep.
don't know, but it can be
Yep.
done. So you can
It
make a
could definitely be
vegan
done. So,
coquito.
and if you do and you have, let us know. We'd love to
If anybody's
kind of
selling
love
that,
to
let
see
us
it.
know.
Yeah, let us know if you're selling. Yeah, if you're selling. Do they let us know if you're selling like a vegan version of it? That's awesome. I like that idea. I'm all
sure a
about
lot of people
thinking.
would buy that. There's
Oh
a lot
yeah.
of people out there who would buy that, I think.
I totally agree with that. I think that would be good. It may actually not even be as what was I going to say? Because it'd be like lactose free, pretty much.
It would be
Would it
lactose
not?
free. I'm sure it wouldn't be low cal, but it would be lower cal than
Correct.
this.
Yeah.
You know?
No, for sure, for sure. But yeah, I'm looking forward to what the season of eating and giving and all of that, and a little bit of season of coquito. I definitely think that's one of the fun parts of it, being able to do that and kind of tell stories and kind of catch up over a bottle of coquito. And it's makes for a great gift if you've done it or not done it. And obviously, if you want to have, if I could pretty much say if you want the traditional style, obviously ask Amy Drew, because she actually went the route this year next level where she actually did it over the heat. I usually do mine is like I am like quick easy cans dropping in.
Though, just try it. Make a batch. It really,
I want to. I think I'm
you'll
going
do it
to.
and you'll be like, wow, this really did make a difference.
I think I am going to do it so I can have it with my family and show them like a different version of it and try it. So I think I will try the version of doing that, just so I can make like a special, holiday edition version of it.
There you go.
And try it. But yeah, I'm definitely intrigued to see, because I'm, especially if it makes it creamier, I'm all about making it even creamier and kind of having that.
I mean, it really sets up, like in the fridge, it gets a skin on it, like pudding.
Yes.
Like it really.
And then do you shake it? I'm assuming, do you shake it up before you, what do you usually do
You'll blend it up before you mix it with the alcohol and bottle it, or jar it or whatever you're doing. So you're gonna stir it anyway.
Yeah.
But it sets up and it gets really, creamy.
Oh, I'm making it. This is the bad part about us when we do this. Well, I'm looking forward to it. We'll definitely have to share. We'll have to meet up and share our coquitos and see which one is what. But I am going to try to make it your recipe style, the one that you've gotten with it. I think it'll be a lot of fun to be able to try. And obviously, if you're trying coquito, if you've never tried it or had it, if you have a special recipe version of it, or heck, if you want to ask me or Amy Drew on how we make it, not that we're experts at it, but I think we've made or drank enough of it that we can probably tell you if it's good or not, or if we enjoy it or how we enjoy it.
And anyone else, when we post this, if you're selling it, if you're a local restaurant, feel free to throw that in the thread and let people know.
Yes, please. For sure, share it. And if not, we may keep a running track, and maybe we'll do a coquito list for 2025. So that way we're ahead of the game for next year, of who makes, where to get coquito and what. And maybe it'll inspire you to make something coquito-esque as well. And we'll actually get to, maybe hopefully try it or talk about it.
Definitely. Sounds good.
Well, you guys have a great night. Thank you so much for listening to another episode. I hope you have a great holiday. We got one more episode before the end of the year. We'll probably talk about, what's opening and what's closing, and what's to come in 2025. But thank you so much for listening and being part of our podcast.
I'm waving for those of you who are watching, and for those of you who are not, thank you. And we'll be talking at you again soon.
Yes, you guys have a great night, and
Merry
cheers
Christmas.
if you are drinking coquito.
Cheers.
Happy Hanukkah.
That's right.
Bye.